Hi everyone, welcome to part 3 of Computer Network. Today we are going to discuss what is transmission media. So let's discuss what is transmission media. Transmission media is a medium through which data is traveled between one place to another, or you can say from one device to another device. Now, if we classify transmission media, then we can say that we have two type of transmission media. Number one is guided and number two is unguided. In unguided media, we have a cabling system where data is traveled through a wire. For example, we have telephone lines where data is transmitted through a wire. Okay, or you can say twisted pair cable. Now, another type of a media which is said to be unguided media is without cables or wireless media, just like your mobile phones, right? So let us discuss these transmission media in greater detail. Okay, so here we have a simple guided media. In guided media there are three types of wire. The first one is twisted pair cable, and the second one is fiber optic cable, and the third one is coaxial cable. And in unguided media we have various types of propagation, that is radio wave, lasers, and infrared radiations, Bluetooth, etc. Right? Now, each transmission media has its own advantage and disadvantage in terms of bandwidth, speed, delay, cost per bit, ease of installation and maintenance. So let us discuss more about these. Now, first one is twisted pair cable. So it is a pair of a cable. Okay, just like in a telephone wires, if you have seen, it is a pair of a cable. And now if data is traveled with the help of these two set of a pair cables, then it is said to be a twisted pair cable. So let us discuss about it. The copper wires are the most common wires used for transmitting signals because of a good performance at low cost. They are most commonly used in telephone lines. However, if two or more wires are linked together, they can interfere each other signals. To reduce this electromagnetic interference, pair of copper wires are twisted together in helical shape, like a DNA molecule. Such twisted cable wires are called twisted pair. To reduce interference between nearby twisted pair, the twisted rates are different for each pair. Okay, so you can see this is an Ethernet cable, and you can see four pair of cables. Up to 25 twisted pair are put together in a protective covering to form a twisted pair cable that are backbone of telephone system and Ethernet networks, right? Now, advantage of twisted pair cable. So these are relatively cheaper than the any other type of a cable system. Okay, and they are easy to install, and you can say that it can send both analog as well as digital signals, right? And not much training is required to install them. So these are the some of advantages of twisted pair cables. Now let us discuss the disadvantages of twisted pair cables, as there can be a high rate of interference. Secondly, over a long distance, signals need to be amplified with the help of special device called amplifiers, or you can say that modulators, which can enhance the signal. And generally this happens when we have distance greater than 100 meter. You have to note this figure, that is 100 meter. When we are using a twisted pair cable, every 100 meter or after every 100 meter we require a repeater or amplifiers. Okay, let us go through these points. Signal cannot travel long distance without repeaters, and high error rate for distance greater than 100 meters. So after every 100 meters we need a repeater so that there is no error. A very thin and hinge break easily. Obviously not suitable for broadband connections because bandwidth is limited to only 2 Mbps. And secondly, there is another problem. There is a problem of annotation. Okay, outer interference can also distract these signals, right? So these are the some of the disadvantages of twisted pair cables. Now we have another type of a cable which is again a twisted pair cable, but it is called a shielded. Now there is a protective covering which protect um, signals from getting affected by the environmental factors, right? To counter the tendency of twisted pair cables to pick up noise signals, wires are shielded in the following three ways. Each twisted pair is shielded. Set of multiple twisted pairs in the cable is shielded. Each twisted pair, and then all the pairs are shielded. Okay. Such twisted pair are called shielded twisted pair or STP cables. The wires that are not shielded but simply bundled together in a protective shield are called unshielded twisted pair cables, UTP. These cables can have maximum length up to 100 meters. After every 100 meters we need repeaters, as you know. Shielding makes the cable bulky, so UTP are more popular than STP. UTP cable are used as the last mile network connection in home and offices. Now another type in this wiring system is a coaxial cable, which is a wire you have seen in your dish TV. Okay, or if you closely um, look on your Airtel TV or your Tata Sky, you will find that we have a coaxial cable there. Now let us see some of the properties of the coaxial cable. Coaxial cables are copper cables. There is a inner core. You can see there is a very uh, thick wire, that is copper wire, and then we have a plastic covering. Okay, cable with a better shielding. So there you can see there is a very thick protective covering with a white plastic type of material, and then we have again a mesh, okay, or aluminum mesh most of the cases. So that transmitted signals may travel longer distance at a higher speed, and most of the cases these coaxial cable can carry signals up to 500 meters, right? And for twisted pair cable it was 100 meters. A coaxial cable consists of these layers starting from the innermost. Okay, there is a stiff core wire as called a core. This is made up of a generally aluminum or copper. Most of the cases, good wires have a copper core. And insulating material surrounding the core. This is generally a plastic, very thick one, so that it can be protected and insulated from outside. Closely woven braided mesh of conducting material surrounding the insulator. Okay, you can see there is a aluminum or sometimes it can be copper mesh. Then again we have a plastic sheet. Generally you can find it is with different colors. Most of the cases you will see white or black, and nowadays black cables are more popular. Coaxial cables are widely used for cable TV connections and LANs. Okay, and the speed is up to 100 Mbps, right? So you can see this type of a cable is called coaxial cable. Here you can see a core, then we have a protective covering that works as insulator, and then we have a braid or a mesh, and then we have a outer jacket which gives additional strength and protection. Okay, now let us come to our advantages of coaxial cable. So obviously excellent noise immunity. So generally signals when passed through this type of a cable doesn't get damaged from outside. So you can say annotation is very less. Signals can travel longer distance at higher speeds, that is 1 to 2 Gbps for 1 kilometer cable. Actually, according to Sumitra Arora, it is 500 cables. But this is a new website, and I have searched the latest materials. You can go with this, and can be used for both analog and digital signals. Inexpensive or compared to fiber optic cables. It is less expensive as compared to fiber optic cable, but is costlier than the twisted pair cable, and easy to install and maintain. But you can say that it is little bit more bulkier than the twisted pair cable. Now disadvantages: expensive as compared to twisted pair cables, not compatibility with twisted pair cables. So these are not compatible with the twisted pair cables. Now the third and most you can say that fast is your third option, that is optical fiber cable. Now let us talk about this. You can see the diagram. Here we have a core which is made of a glass material, then there is a reflective cladding outside, and then we have a protective covering. Okay, now let us go through the text. Thin glass or a plastic thread used to transmit data using light waves are called optical fiber. So here signals are transmitted in a form of light, not as a electrons, flow of electrons. Light emitting diode, LED, or a laser diode emits light waves at the source, which is which is read by a detector at the other end. Optical fiber cable has a bundle of such threads or fibers bundled together in a protective covering. Each fiber is made up of these three layers, starting with innermost layer, that is core, called core, made up of high quality silica glass or plastic. Now the second layer, that is called the cladding, made up of a high quality silica glass or a plastic with a lower refractive index than the core. Then we have a protective outer covering called buffer. Okay. Now the both core and cladding are made of similar material. However, as the refractive index of the cladding is lower, any straight light wave trying to escape the core is reflected back due to total internal reflection. So if a light is thrown from this side, then it will reflect and go through the wire and reach at the other end. You can see this type of a cable or fiber in Diwali season. Now, optical fiber is rapidly replacing copper wire in telephone lines, internet communication, and even cable TV connection, because transmitted data can travel very long distance without weakening. Since there is a total reflection, so there is no chance of damaging or error in the signals, and line loss is very low. Signal node fiber or single node fiber optic cable can have maximum segment length of 2 km and bandwidth of up to 100 Mbps. So you can see we have 100 Mbps. Multi-node fiber optic cable can have maximum segment length of 100 kilometers and bandwidth up to 2 Gbps. So this is the limit, right? Now let us see the advantages of fiber optic cable. So higher bandwidth, obviously it can transmit more data, immune to electromagnetic interference, suitable for industrial and noisy areas. Signals carry data can travel long distance without weakening. So these are the positive points or cons or pros of the optical fiber cable. Now let us discuss cons of the optical fiber. As it is very expensive, this is the first and most important point, because a layman cannot install it, and it requires a technical skills and equipments to install it, and it is sophisticated technology required for manufacturing, installing and maintaining optical fiber. So we need highly skilled personnel for manufacturing, installing, and maintaining optical fiber cables, which is not an easy job. Now, the last point is light waves are unidirectional, so two frequencies are required for full duplex transmission, that is, incoming and outgoing signals. Okay, so this is all about our what we can say guided media, and tomorrow we are going to learn unguided media.